What if I told you that how you spend your money today could secretly decide if you stay poor, rise to middle class, or build real wealth? Most people think it's about how much you make, but here's the truth. It's about how you spend. And once you see the differences between how the poor, the middle class, and the rich handle their money, you'll never look at your own spending habits the same way again. So stick with me, because one of these habits is so sneaky, it traps even smart people into staying broke. Number 1. Spending for survival versus growth. Here's the first big difference. Poor people tend to spend money just to survive. Rent, food, gas, maybe some fast food at the end of a hard day. Middle class spends money to feel comfortable, nicer cars, better homes, vacations, but still mostly working paycheck to paycheck. The rich? They spend money to grow. They buy assets, investments, businesses, things that make more money. For example, a poor person might buy a new TV with their tax refund. A middle-class family might upgrade their kitchen. A rich person? They'll use that same money to buy stocks or fund a new side business. Number 2. Wants over needs. Here's another difference. Priorities. The poor often spend on wants that feel urgent. Think fancy sneakers. Take out every day, the newest iPhone on credit. Middle-class people upgrade their wants too. Bigger houses with bigger mortgages, luxury cars they can barely afford, private schools. The rich, though, delay gratification. They focus first on needs, building a safety net, paying for good. Advice, making sure money flows back to them before splurging. Warren Buffett still lives in the modest home he bought decades ago, even though he can afford a mansion in every city. Number 3. Debt as a trap or a tool. Debt is another big one. Poor and middle-class folks use debt to buy liabilities, cars, vacations, gadgets. Then they spend years paying interest. The rich use debt differently. They borrow to buy assets. For example, they might use a loan to buy a rental property that pays them more in rent than the loan costs. This way, debt works for them instead of against them. Think of debt like fire. It can cook your dinner or burn your house down. Number 4. Income streams. Here's something most beginners miss. The poor rely on one income, usually from a job. The middle class may have 2 incomes, maybe a second earner in the household or a side hustle. But the rich? They aim for multiple streams of income: stocks, real estate, business income, royalties. That way, even if one stream dries up, they're still making money. Imagine having 3 or 4 paychecks coming in every month. That's what keeps the rich ahead. Number 5. Shopping habits. It shows up even in small habits. The poor shop for today, grabbing what they need at the corner store, often paying more. The middle class shops for the best deal, couponing, waiting for sales, comparing prices. But the rich think longer term. They'll buy high quality once instead of cheap over and over. Or they'll invest in bulk, or even buy part of the business they shop at. For example, instead of buying coffee every day, some wealthy folks buy stock in the coffee company. That way they make money from everyone else's coffee habit. Number 6. Time versus money. Here's a big mindset shift. Poor people trade their time for money. Middle-class people try to trade time more efficiently, working for a higher hourly wage, maybe getting some paid time off, but rich people buy back their time. They hire others to do what they don't need to do themselves, freeing their own time to make bigger decisions or just enjoy life. For example, Jeff Bezos doesn't mow his lawn. His time is worth too much for that. Number 7. How they treat windfalls. What happens when unexpected money comes in? Poor people usually spend it on bills or something they've wanted for a long time. Middle-class people might save a little, but often spend it on a vacation or a home upgrade. The rich? They invest it. Every windfall is an opportunity to plant another money tree. Even if it's just $500, they look for a way to make it grow. Number 8. Education. Here's one more that might surprise you. The poor stop learning when school ends. The middle class often take courses to earn certifications or degrees for better jobs. But the rich never stop educating themselves. They read books about money and mindset. They pay for mentors, seminars, coaches. They know that the more they grow, the more their money grows. For example, studies show the average CEO reads over 50 books a year. Number 9. How they see money. This one might be the most important. The poor see money as something to spend. The middle class sees money as something to save. The rich see money as a seed to plant. They know money can grow more money if you let it work. That mindset alone can change everything about how you handle your paycheck. Number 10. Experiences versus things. This one's subtle, but powerful. Poor and middle-class people tend to spend money on things, clothes, cars, gadgets. The rich spend more on experiences or investments that give them memories, growth, or connections. For example, instead of dropping thousands on a luxury watch, a wealthy person might spend that same money attending a business retreat where they meet someone who becomes a partner in $1 million deal, or they might take their kids on a trip that teaches them about history, culture, and confidence. Lessons that last far longer than a pair of sneakers. Number 11. Who they try to impress. Here's a big trap for most people. Poor people often spend to impress neighbors, friends, or even strangers. Flashy clothes, big rims on the car, the newest phone. Middle-class families also fall into this. Buying homes in neighborhoods just to keep up with others, even if they're stretching their budgets thin. The rich? They're usually not trying to impress anyone. They let their bank accounts, businesses, and investments do the talking. In fact, many millionaires quietly drive used cars and wear simple clothes, while their wealth works behind the scenes. A study once showed most millionaires in the USA drive cars more than 5 years old. Number 12. Emergency planning. Emergencies happen to everyone, but how you plan for them matters. Poor families often have nothing set aside, so one unexpected car repair or medical bill throws them into debt. Middle-class families may have a little savings, but often not enough to cover more than a couple months. The rich build strong emergency funds, insurance, and even backup income streams. They plan for the worst so they're never caught off guard. One simple rule they follow: have at least 6 months of living expenses saved up, just in case. Number 13. Giving back. And here's something beautiful. The rich don't just spend differently. They also give differently. Even when they were still growing, many wealthy people made it a habit to give to charity, to their communities, to causes they care about. Why? Because they understand that generosity builds connections, goodwill, and even opportunities. One wealthy entrepreneur I know told me, "Every dollar I give away somehow comes back tenfold." Number 14. Long-term vision. And finally, this one sums it all up. Poor and middle-class people tend to think short-term. This week, this paycheck, this year. The rich think in decades. When they spend, they ask, how will this help me 5, 10, even 20 years from now? It's why they can delay gratification and make smarter choices today, because they see the bigger picture. It's like playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Number 15. Who they listen to. Here's another big difference that doesn't get talked about enough. Poor people often take financial advice from their broke friends, family, or social media influencers who are just pretending to have money. Middle-class folks tend to rely on mainstream sources, maybe their bank, maybe a financial advisor, who plays it very safe. But the rich? They surround themselves with people who are smarter and wealthier than them. They join mastermind groups, hire expert advisors, and ask questions of people who already achieved what they want. One example: a millionaire I know pays thousands every year just to have lunch with someone even richer, because one idea from that lunch can be worth millions. Number 16. Entertainment budget. This one's fascinating. Everyone loves to have fun, rich, middle, poor. But how you spend on entertainment makes a big difference. Poor people tend to spend big chunks of their money on things like lottery tickets, bar nights, or pay-per-view fights. Things that give a quick rush, but nothing lasting. Middle-class families buy season tickets, fancy vacations, or expensive memberships that eat up their monthly income. The rich? They often choose entertainment that doubles as networking or education, charity galas, golf, high-end conferences, even dinner parties where deals get done. For example, while others are paying $200 for concert tickets, they might spend that same money taking a potential client out to dinner, which can turn into thousands later. The truth is, anyone can start spending more like the rich, even. If you only make a little money now, you can choose to spend it on growth, on education, on investments instead of just survival or comfort. It's not about having more money. It's about using what you already have differently. So, which of these differences feels most relatable to you? And which one are you excited to change starting this week? I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments below.